Welcome back. Waking up with mindful serenity yoga. I can never seem to get those words together because I have a blog page called Waking Up in a Busy World, and I have a yoga page called Mindful Serenity Yoga, and I'm trying to incorporate the two of them together into these little blurps that I do, and I keep forgetting where I'm at when I introduce what it is I'm introducing. So this is Waking Up with Mindful Serenity Yoga. So if you're interested at all in that, I'm going to continue with my little exercise that I've been doing for quite a while now, answering questions within a jar for in a 10-minute time frame, impromptu questions. Sometimes I cheat, but not very often. I try to answer them right off the cuff from the authentic part of me so that what you're getting is an authentic and sincere answer, as imperfect as it may be from this imperfect person that I am. But I do try my best to be authentic, to be as transparent as possible in who I am and what I'm here for. So my hoping that my answers are the same. So anyway, I'm going to reach in. I'm going to watch my timer there. I've been having issues with the timer for a while. I'm not really technologically savvy. It takes little tiny things to throw me over, like trying to get a timer to work. I read the question just to make sure it's not a question I've answered before. Good question. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'll set my timer first, sorry. And this is quite a good question, and it's a psychological question just as much as it is spiritual. And again, I use the term spiritual very loosely. Spirituality to me, it's just becoming a better person with greater understanding about what life and what is beyond life is all about. So this is what the question is. How do we stop suppressing stuff so we are not creating more samskaras? How do we stop suppressing stuff so we are not creating more samskaras? What a great question. I don't know if I can answer it, but I am going to try. So first of all, what is a samskara? Now, samskara is a yogic term. It's also used, I think, in Buddhism, but my understanding of it comes from yoga. And samskara is basically a mental tendency, a mental impression that we've stored that leads, I suppose, to what B.F. Skinner would call a response tendency or a reaction or a type of triggering. So within us, we have stored events from all the stored memories from all the events we've had over our lifetime. You know what I mean? We store the ones that are most significant and have had the most effect on us, either positively or negatively. Those are the ones we tend to store. So as a child, if we had a very loving family experience with two parents, we've made stored within us this idea of family being with two parents, and it becomes something we hang on to, something we seek for ourselves and seek for our children and seek for other people we love. If, however, we were brought up with this very dysfunctional family where the parents may have stayed together, but they were fighting all the time, causing great drama, great stress, probably even becoming down, filtering down into us, we may have a different view. We may have stored a different type of samskara related to couples and marriage. We may come to see that marriage is not something we want. It's something that is destructive and causes pain for both us and our children, any future children we may have. So we may have a different samskara, a different impression about marriage stored within us. So if I have these samskaras stored within me, forming my collective psyche, forming who I think I am as a person who likes marriage, a person who doesn't like marriage, a person who's seeking marriage, a person who doesn't want marriage or is avoiding and pushing away the idea of marriage, I'm going to be constantly triggered by life events. When someone comes up, for example, if I'm seeking marriage, wanting marriage, and I'm in a long-term relationship and all of a sudden the person dumps me, then that is triggering what I wanted. It's not meeting my expectations of what I wanted and thought I needed as a psyche, as a personality. in order to foster that personality and keep it surviving and thriving, I'm going to have a samskara trigger, but it's going to be a very negative reaction because I'm going to feel a sense of loss and grief because of this, because it didn't meet my expectations. If, on the other hand, I was in a relationship and I had this fear of intimacy, this fear of coupling, this fear of being married to someone and having the same thing repeated, that would have a totally different effect on me. It would be like, oh, see, I told you, it's going to happen, nothing works. And then I'm still going to be triggered by it, but it's going to be a different type of reaction, a different type of response coming from me. The stimulus situation or the trigger or the life event was, could have been the same for everybody. The losing of a partner that we've been with for a long time, with the losing of our hope that we were going to someday be with that person in marriage. They could have been the same throughout the board, but everybody's samskaras, what they've stored, and the amount of samskaras they've stored, the intensity of those samskaras they stored, are going to differ. So we're all going to have a different reaction to that. All these samskaras are stored impressions or stored memories with an emotional charge to them. And they're going to try, the body's natural tendency is, the mind's natural tendency is, the spirit, if we want to get to that, natural tendency is to push all that stuff and out, to be free of it, to be clean, to be pure. But if we keep stuff and things on top of it, when we do get these triggers, we push it down, we keep push, and if we push other samskaras down on top of those deeper samskaras and the most painful ones that are really needing to be released, the ones that are contaminating our energy, the ones that are blocking our Shakti flow, and Shakti is the natural flow of energy throughout the body, throughout the life experience. Whatever's blocking that, it's that we have, Yogananda said, within us a river of joy. Within us, the Shakti flow is this inherent, natural trait we all have for love, joy, peace, all those types of things. It's high energy, but the more samskaras we have within us, the more we stored through our conditioning and through our experiences of life and what we judged as experiences of life and what we stuffed and stored, the more we will have these samskaras, the more blockages we'll have, the less we'll be in contact with that river of joy, the less joy we'll experience in our life, the less positive experience we'll have as we journey through, that little dash between the date we're born and the date we die. So the samskara blocking, that pushing down, that suppression, was what Freudians would refer to that as. When we consciously experience pain that we don't want to experience, we'll have a tendency to push it down so we don't experience it in our consciousness. I don't like that pain of what I witnessed my parents fighting, I don't like any reminders of it. I don't want to experience it in my own life. So whenever I see it entering my field, I'm going to have this tendency to push away. Pushing away or aversion is actually a form of suppressing. We're never pushing away. When we push away with our will, what we're actually doing is pushing down away from conscious awareness, so the experience doesn't go away, because you can't make an event not happen when it happened, right? It happened. That's reality. But our experience of it, which is the event, is just meant to come through us and flow through us. But because we have these little hands inside that are doing the suppressing and the repressing, we are going to not allow, we're going to, in our attention, we don't want it in, but it's obviously going to come in because it comes into our awareness through our senses. We know the experience happened, the event is there, we witnessed it. But how deep is it going to go? How much awareness am I willing to put on it so that I can work through it so it does go? If it's painful, we don't want that awareness there, so we push it down below the level of awareness, which is what suppression does. It's just simply below the level of awareness. It's inside us. It's stuffed inside. I don't have to think about it every day. I don't have to deal with it because in my mind I think I cannot deal with this. And of course that forms samskaras, and we have a tendency to push more down. Little things happen. So we have these big samskaras in us. But at the same time, when we're driving in traffic and the person in front of us is going too slow, and then we have an activation of a little, whatever, it's irritation. I don't like that. And my personality, of course, who we truly are doesn't judge or is not disturbed by anything, but who we think we are is is stirred by that person driving slow in front of us. So, I don't want to deal with that. I can't control that right now. I'm busy. So we push it down. Push these little things down. Someone says something that irritates us. We don't want to deal with it. We push it down. All these little things are still samskaras in a sense. We're pushing them down on top of the deeper samskaras. And we have a collection of all this junk and this mess. It's like a closet full of junk, right? You can't open the door, because if you open the door, it's all going to fall through on top of us. And we don't want to have to deal with that mess. So we just slide it in, shut the door real quick. We don't want to be open and aware of what we have stuffed inside us. So how then, crazy lady, do we not stuff more stuff down on top of this samskara? First of all, you have to recognize what you're doing. Recognize that you have this tendency as a human being in you to stuff things down, to suppress. It's one of the most basic defense mechanisms out there. And I don't think any of us are immune to that experience of suppression. It is tendency of what we do to push down away from conscious awareness that which is uncomfortable, or to push down in order to serve what we think is comfortable and things what we want. We also do it that way too. So it affects both ends of the spectrum. But this storing and this stuffing is what we do. We're doing it with our will. No one's doing it to us. What happened with our parents when we were children, whether it was a positive thing or not a positive thing, happened. We can't go back and change that. That happened 50 years ago, say. It happened. That was reality. That was one of those life events that went in. It was just meant to come in, pass through you, awareness, and then go. We are the ones that stored it. Life didn't store it. There was actually nothing wrong with that experience. We judged it as wrong, bad, painful, stuffed it inside because of our judgment, and we spent our lives keeping it down. What energy that takes to keep suppressing and keeping these life circumstances, or the energy around these life circumstances, down. And we blocked our flow of life. We couldn't experience life because our mind was, okay, how do I protect myself from that experience again? And that's where the mind is. We're stuck in that problematic mind. That's where all our focus is. We're not experiencing that river of joy, which what we are, because it formed a blockage. So we all do that. That's a human tendency. We have to be aware that we're doing that, recognize that we're doing that, recognize that we've got a closet full of junk, and then we have to be willing to clean out the mess. That doesn't mean you're going to open that door and let all those big heavy things roll on top of you. They'll squish you if you're not ready. We're going to begin by not putting more in. Okay, before we do our house cleaning, we're just going to stop stuffing more stuff in. So when you're driving in traffic and you're having that problem with the person in front of you, they're going too slow and you're in a hurry, recognize that you're being triggered. Notice the events. Notice that as a stimulus situation. Notice that as a trigger. Feel what you feel like inside, and notice how the body is experiencing that. Maybe you're getting tense, shoulders are up, fists are shut, you feel that pain in your gut or whatever. Notice that. Then take a deep breath and relax into it. The biggest cue, the biggest remedy is relaxation. Most of the samskara the samskara production and storage is a form of resistance. So the opposite of resistance is relaxation. So as soon as you are aware, so that's awareness is so crucial for both relaxation and resistance. Notice you're resisting. Notice how it feels to exist, and then do the opposite of what your mind's telling you to do. Resist. Relax. Physically relax your body. Take those deep breaths. Ask your body to relax. If you practice yoga on a regular basis, or even progressive muscle relaxation on a regular basis when you're not triggered, this ability to relax the body when you are triggered will become a natural thing. I encourage you all to practice one of those two things on a regular basis so you can relax the body in times of tension. Recognize that you're resisting, recognizing you're tensing up, which is a sign of resistance, then relax the body. Relax the mind. You're not asking the situation to relax. You're not asking the problem to go away. You're simply asking that you can relax into the problem. Michael Singer said it's also very beneficial for us to practice this mantra when we're not resisting. I can handle this, I can handle this, I can handle this. And once we have that I can handle this in our minds, when we're in these challenging situations where we don't feel like we can handle it, the mantra will just come in and it will have this very soothing effect and will help us to relax further. So, of course, relaxation is the thing. If I'm relaxing into what is, I'm allowing what is, I'm accepting what is, and I am not resisting it. When I'm not resisting something, I am not suppressing it. I'm allowing the experience of what is to pass all the way through me. It's not going to get caught up in me. It's not going to get caught up in my closet of many things. It's going to pass through. And the more we can do that with the little things, what Michael Singer refers to as the low-hanging fruit, the better able we're going to be able to handle the bigger things that life throws our way. We are not going to go down to the bottom of the barrel and start digging out those very painful childhood memories or those trauma events that we've stored and stuffed. At first, we're just going to deal with the little superficial things that we experience on a day-to-day basis, and we're going to prevent ourselves from stuffing more into the closet, more over that samskara layer. Every little freedom, every little bit we release, we're going to feel a little bit of Shakti flow emerging. We're going to feel a little bit more peace, a little bit more joy. And so if we stop storing, then the stuff on the bottom is just going to start coming up, because Shakti is always pushing it up. But as long as I'm pushing down, Shakti can't push up. But if I stop pushing things down on top, those top layer things are going to come up and out. Underneath that, the heavier things are going to come out. And those things on the bottom are eventually going to rise up and come out. What was stored in pain is going to come up in pain, so we have to be mindful of that. So we will experience some pain when the big stuff comes up. But the more we can handle the small stuffs, the more we can handle the reemergence of these samskaras that are making it to the surface again, these painful memories, these painful experiences, these things that once triggered us so greatly. And we just keep relaxing, breathing, relaxing into what is. So you're relaxing into the new experiences that are triggering the old experience. At the same time, you're relaxing into the old experiences coming up. Don't have to do anything about the bigger things. You can just simply allow them to come up when they're ready to come up, and they will keep coming up. When you're ready, you're going to notice that life is handing you all these trigger events, all these stimulus situations are going to come into your life to trigger that. They are not bad things you need to avoid. They are wonderful tools to help you to release and purify, because your goal is to purify from these samskaras. And with purification of samskaras, a purified inner life, the river of joy is going to be able to flow freely. Shakti is going to be able to flow freely, and you're going to experience life in an entirely different way. So we want purification of samskaras. We don't want them in us. But we're going to clean out our closet gradually by beginning not to put more stuff in, and then allowing the other stuff to come out when they're ready. I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. Relax, release, surrender to what is. And eventually, in time, with nature's help, with life's help, with your willingness to stop pushing back down, stop suppressing, you're going to have a very clean closet, a very clean inside, and a wonderful, abundant Shakti flow. You'll feel the joy and peace you deserve to feel. Well, that's all I have to say about that. I hope that answered your question. Thank you so much for joining me. And I went way over my time. I usually try to stay within the 10 minutes, but I went over because I thought this was a question worth pursuing. Thank you so much for being patient with me, and I do hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.